Is not 분노, rage, but 분뇨, human waste, pee and poo-poo.
See, I'm losing so much by not speaking Korean. This video is dangerously close to being like, white man cries about a song finally not being in his language. What's up, guys? My name is Comedian, and the less said about that, the better. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me today because I have the energy levels of the sun, but the sun after a supernova to be precise, so when it's really cold and dead inside. Yeah, I don't know, I just feel really just low energy today, so if you're new to this channel, get excited and hyped for a low energy, low emotion reaction. What other channel is out there promising that? None of them, because they have common sense. Yeah, and you know, moving topic completely as quickly as possible, you guys should check out this cool shirt my sister got me. See that? It's very relevant for today's time period, and it says everything that my eyes normally say, just conveniently on a shirt, which saves time. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. Today is BTS reaction time once more. Earlier this week, I did a reaction to or however you want to say it, by BTS, and obviously now it's time to do the explanation video, because the thing about BTS songs, if you're somehow new to BTS and you were discovering them through me, which would just be really the worst way to do it imaginable, but the thing about BTS, if you're new to BTS somehow, is that their songs are so packed full of meaning that you could make a 20-minute video essay, he says very, very lightly and jokingly and completely overstating what I made earlier in the week. But you could make a 20-minute video about a 4-minute song and then really still not have got all of the meaning, and people in the comments will be like, yeah, check out the explanation video. Might help. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here today. I want to thank a few of you who requested that I do this. There's way too many of you to name, so I'll just pick a few names from a hat, which is my brain. My brain is very much like a hat. Well, not my head. My head is like a hat, as in there's a hole at the top of it, and if you look inside, it's empty. But I'm not going to show you the top of my head today. Not yet. So I want to thank Kaisa, Julie G, Kai Ann, Stephanie Ferez, and Rachel Wilcox. I just said Rachel Wilcox, like I'm Jonathan Ross. No, Rachel Wilcox. Yeah, so that's all done, except not really. I know loads of you asked for it. Thank you to all of you guys. And yeah, right before I get started, I just want to reiterate that so far what I know about the song by BTS is that it's, you know, a song kind of about rage and anger, and some of you pointed out in the comments, and actually this did occur to me while I was editing it, but I guess I kind of missed the element of it, of, you know, kind of like being about haters or people who hate on popular people or people like BTS because they're successful. But the side I really focused on when I was first listening to it was just a lot about hate in society, and how hatred is kind of a very mindless, pointless thing, very unproductive, how hate is a very powerful emotion that spills over, it affects everyone it touches, it spreads like a disease, all that wholesome stuff. If you want to see it, it's in the first half, it's in the other video. There might be a teaser, click video thing button here, if I remember. Probably won't remember because it's me we're talking about. So yeah, that stuff, that's what I know so far. I want to know more stuff, so let's do this.
So here we have another clever song from the BTS rap line, spitting out fire, just like Dang. But if you thought this song was to diss hate,
spitting out fuego, that's right.
Well, I would say that is maybe like 50% right.
Thank you.
It's actually deeper than that.
Yes, it's deeper than that. Maybe not in the way I thought, but it's deeper.
To the real meaning of the song.
Okay, well, these translations are way better than the ones I was reading. It was about 75% utter gibberish.
Starts out with saying that the haters are starting to get triggered again, and they get triggered so fast that even before the actual fuel is poured, they ignite and burn.
Ooh, I like that. I like that imagery, that
proportion with the
stuff,
details.
Words.
They don't know that they're actually hurting themselves with all the negativity.
So true.
Now he's being sarcastic and calling the haters a pro, a player that enters the ring with a trivial little flaw and keeps on biting on that and doesn't let go, making a big fuss out of it. So 동네북 is literally translated into neighborhood drum. This is a Korean expression that means a drum that anybody can hit on, basically meaning an easy target or person to shit on.
Oh, oh wow, my goodness. He just said the S word live on TV. Outrageous. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. I feel like they haven't sworn in the other 2 or 3 videos I've seen by these guys, so that really did shock me for some reason. I don't know why.
Neighborhood drum. This is a Korean expression that means a drum that anybody can hit on. Basically meaning
That's a really cool expression.
Person to shit on.
I like punching bag as an expression too, but neighborhood drum is cool too, because it kind of speaks to that kind of like mob mentality thing too.
The haters keep on poking with no reason, like a boxing player that keeps on jabbing. And if Suga keeps on ignoring them, they start to stab him.
See, I feel like I can relate to this personally because there was this one time in my errant childhood, which wasn't errant at all. I basically lived in the English equivalent of Hobbiton, and the average age of my neighborhood was about 104. So not really much to get up to, but from the very few times I did go out with friends who were more troublesome or outrageous than I did, remember one time I went to my friend's house, or a friend of a friend's house. My friends were there. They were like my age, but then one of their friends was there who was a year older, which, as you'll know, when you're in school, somebody who's a year older than you might as well be your granddad, because it's like, whoa, he's a year older, or she's a year older, or they're a year older. So yeah, so we must have been about 18. Wink, or a few years south of that, and we started drinking some non-alcoholic beverages. Wink. I needed to drink, which would be fine too, I guess. And that was all pretty normal, pretty standard English stuff, let's face it. But then this 1 year older friend, he brought out a perfectly normal cigarette. Wink. And yeah, he proceeded to smoke his perfectly normal cigarette, which again wouldn't be that insane for kids these days. But after that happened, to cut to the end of a long story, which didn't work because I already said most of it, I got very sick because the non-alcoholic beverage I was drinking was really disgusting, like mint. It was like mouthwash basically with non-alcohol in it, and I got very sick, so I basically went to the bathroom and just kind of like knelt down on the ground, like, you know, praying to the floor that I would start to not feel so horrible, at which point this guy came in, and literally, either because he was stimulated by the nicotine cigarette, he then decided to literally just sit there. So partly for that reason, and partly because he was a bit of a massive knob, he then decided to just kneel next to me, just poking me on the forehead, just repeatedly, for what felt like, and it quite easily might have been, at least 10-20 minutes, just poking. Because this guy was, like I said, a knob, and he knew that I was arguably still am, a timid little sheep who basically would just put up with anything out of fear of conflict. So yeah, he literally just poked me repeatedly for like 20 minutes. And he did it so long that the next day I actually had a bruise on my forehead. Which might be the world's first like poke-induced bruise. I don't know. If so, I'm proud to hold that title. But the point being, I don't know what my point was. I guess all I can take away from that is that at the very least he didn't then start stabbing me in the head. So that's good.
Actually a very hardcore slang used by Korean gangs when they stab people with knives. The original word...
What else do you do to people with knives? Cover them in butter?
Usually used in terms of kimchi or salted seafood called 젓갈. The common thing among these foods is that they are all red, liquidy, and they go inside jars afterwards for fermentation.
And is there a link there between what somebody might look like after you Walter White them and put them inside a jar? Maybe.
You can see why gangs would use this word in that kind of way. And 푸 is a word that expresses the action of stabbing into something very deep and powerfully.
그 늙은 꼰대 새끼들 잘들 감시해.
만에 하나라도 꼬로막에 굴거나 수틀리게 나오면 나가 아주 창을 내가지고 젓갈을 담궈버리려니까 말입니다, 형님.
넌 어째 나이를 처먹고도 여전히 무지막지하니? 여만세.
That's a handsome man.
Now notice that the mimetic words dung dung dung, tuk tuk, and puk puk all rhyme with uk and each other, and they all escalate by each line from hitting a drum to jabbing and stabbing. So haters start.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Man, like, I feel like I'll end up becoming one of those people who feels inspired to learn Korean because they enjoy BTS so much. Except I might feel inspired, but I absolutely won't. There's no way I will. I'm not saying it like it's a good thing that I should be proud of that ignorance. Like, I would like to speak a second language better than I do. But just, I mean, that involves work. Work. Ugh. Don't like work.
The truth becomes a lie becomes the truth. It's funny to see everyone suddenly becoming a morally perfect and flawless human being. And yeah, I know a little bit about this too, and it seems like the typical characteristics of many online communities and platforms with people that have nothing better to do in real life than spread hate towards.
Oh, that's a Twitter reference. At first, I actually thought I was losing my mind. I was like, do I tell my YouTube audience that I'm hearing birds? Or like, will they call the ambulance on me? But no, I think that was a Twitter reference.
RM states that rage is an actual emotion that is sometimes needed. He says that people have the right to get mad.
Of course it's sometimes needed. I mean, where would we be without rage? My favorite childhood band would have been Against the Machine. And people would have been like, well, sure, Against the Machine, but what against the machine? Why against the machine? It wouldn't have worked.
But overall, RM acknowledges the fact that rage can likely change the world. Now, Korea is a nation full of rage against many surrounding countries that invaded and colonized our land. Also,
and like I said in my video, it's a very productive emotion,
impeached our former
but not a clean one. And I think that also goes into the idea of justified anger versus like mindless, directionless anger. But again, that's a very, very hard thing to quantify.
Him is not 분노, rage, but 분뇨, human waste, pee and poo-poo. He says that haters are actually killing anger with their fake anger, and numerous people are tired of that.
See, I'm losing so much by not speaking Korean. That wordplay is so good, but when you're reading translations, especially when the translations are written like a cat wrote it, then it just... You just... Like, I still love this song, but you just miss out on so much. And I guess, this video is dangerously close to being like, white man cries about, a song finally not being in his language. Boo-hoo. But I guess the obvious answer is to learn Korean, but... Oh, man. Because knowing my luck, I would learn Korean, and then a week later, they would just invent the Babylon fish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Guarantee it. In fact, maybe I should just learn Korean to do everyone else a favor, because those fish are useful buggers.
Anger about stupid things haters throw around in the world is actually devaluating the power and impact of the word anger.
Yeah. I feel like I kind of said that somewhere in the rambling spiel I gave last time. It's in there somewhere, especially if you cut the words out that I said and rearrange them entirely, then it's definitely in there.
It's not just killing us, we're used to that shit anyways, but the real problem is that people are getting insensitive about the emotion anger itself, since it's so normalized and thrown towards them and in every direction.
And again, I so agree with this as well, because I think this goes into the point I was making about how I feel like people don't even realize that them being angry means they're miserable, because we're at a point in society where everyone's just angry all the time, and it is normalized, and you forget how unhealthy that is.
Then the rap line goes, ooh. Ook is a Korean term that describes how blood suddenly rushing to your head in seconds right after you see something infuriating. It's usually used towards people who don't know how to keep their temper and are hot-headed. BTS cleverly translated ook into ugh, very similar to how it sounds in English, and also gives that feeling of a sudden disgust or frustration. Then why does the rap line suddenly feel angry? Because of the haters? Well, not exactly. They're actually mad because of the anger that contains malice. At this point, they don't care about what haters shit on them anymore. They're angry about the fact that this pure emotion called anger is being used in such a malicious way.
And this translation and explanation does help, because I got that they were saying they were angry at anger, which I thought was a very interesting kind of image, a very interesting concept. But, which side did I do it on? I can't remember. But I was missing that kind of second bit of like, I don't think Malice was translated. That definitely wasn't there last time. It makes a lot more sense now.
It doesn't change the world or history, and that's why they bring up the word 분뇨, human waste, because anger is becoming wasted.
And yeah, I feel like a lot of this is me just justifying it, being like, I kind of got this, so sorry if that's how it comes off, but I did feel like I kind of got that. Like, when I was talking about how, you know, anger can be productive, and there's a lot in the society to be angry about, but then people often, and sometimes not down to their own fault, but often because, you know, there are systems in control, and people in certain positions of power that have they have vested interest in keeping us uneducated, but sometimes their uneducation can result in people directing their anger downwards, not upwards. They pointed downwards at people, you know, they see as lesser than them, people who are even more underprivileged than them. And yeah, that is the perfect example for me. That was the example I gave of how anger, you know, which can be very productive, is sometimes completely the opposite of that.
Then J-Hope goes on and says that he's angry about the anger that got extinguished. In accordance with the previous lyrics, this means that J-Hope is angry that at some situations when anger was truly needed for like a protest or a good cause or whatever, it died out and didn't meet its final goal. Because the anger is being diffused towards random subjects like BTS themselves or, for example, DKDKTV.
I guess I don't know about anger being directed towards these lovely chappies, but that's interesting. It's an interesting way of looking at anger, because it's almost like saying that it's a finite emotion, which I guess it kind of is. Like, I don't know. I personally, I do see emotions as kind of being infinite in concept, but also at the same time, anger is exhausting. So it kind of does have a finite quality to it for that reason.
And used for a meaningful cause, the anger could actually make an improvement in the world. So basically, stop shitting on Twitter and throwing your anger at random people.
Said it again.
Make that anger useful and make yourself useful. In general, they go on promoting anger. They say be angry about things that are not just in this society.
Oh, okay. I missed this bit. This is
This
cool.
line has a sarcastic double meaning.
Okay, I got that bit. Okay, it's a relief. If I get even one tiny, you know, strand, little half string, split head string of the entire giant dangling up sequence that with balloons on the end, I don't know where I'm going with this. If I even get one of those strings with one balloon on the end, then I'm happy, honestly. Because I very much got the sarcastic, like, yeah, just go, just spill out the anger for no reason. I got that bit.
As much as you can until you become ashes and break yourself. Whatever, I don't give a f.
Is that a song?
Oh, so he'll say shit, but he won't say fuck.
J-Hope continues to say that he understands that anger is a powerful emotion that moves and rules the world. But then he says that some people these days just can't live without being angry. They're just too angry at every single little thing, and they go crazy with it.
Yeah, and again, I completely agree with this. And I think it kind of just makes sense. Like, that's because I talked a lot about mental health in our society last video, and I think that's kind of a symptom of that. So many people are alive in our society today. One right here, who just are completely empty. They just have giant holes inside them, not in a weird way. And a lot of people just fill that with the easiest or kind of like cheapest thing there is, which is just anger. That was me. I did that when I was about 16, 15, something like that. Now I just fill it with cheese, which I think is an upgrade, but it's still not ideal. You can tell this song is like very deep because often DKDKTV lads will kind of speed through sections, or they'll like do like, you know, a whole verse, but they're doing like per line pretty much this time.
Good or bad, it is anger. He says that unleashing your anger is okay, but he doesn't like the anger that harms other people's lives. So he urges haters to stop that. Someone's actions can hurt someone, and someone's words can make someone lose hope. And someone's blink of an eye can become a moment for someone. Someone's anger can cost even the life of someone. Suga spits out of disgust.
Oh, that's spitting. Patooey, because patooey kind of sounds like, patooey. I don't know if I just made that up. This is a very interesting element, which I didn't really get into in the last video, but this is kind of like almost like a butterfly effect kind of vision of anger, which I'm not even saying I disagree with. It's just a very interesting thing of being like, it's almost like that, careful about upsetting one because you don't know what might happen. But I understand they're not basically saying like, oh, careful about upsetting somebody because they might stab you. I don't think it's a threat. I think it's more of a wholesome message. It's like, you don't know what someone's going through. Like, you lashing out at them might be a tiny thing in your day, but it could completely ruin their month even. I think that's the more wholesome version they're getting at. But it's interesting, like the butterfly effect kind of mentality on it.
Because they went to the extent of mentioning a life, personally, I think they had in mind of the tragic incidents that happened in K-pop last year. Stupid and useless actions, words, mockery, and anger were wasted on such meaningless things about idols and celebrities.
See, that makes sense, because I have heard about how
there's forced to make a very unfortunate decision. If you think this is a stretch, then you should listen to the next verse.
Yeah, I've heard about like the suicides in K-pop.
This part is an impersonation of haters and netizens. These jobless people keep on saying stuff such as, what's the big deal about getting some insults? You guys deserve it because you guys make a whole lot of money anyways. So stop complaining, it's a toll for being famous, so just suck it up.
Yeah, and that is such nonsense. That is so ridiculous.
Whenever a celebrity brought up how they're suffering from or are planning to sue hate comments.
Well, this translation is so much better. Pick me instead. That was definitely not in my video.
Be in your place. Let me be an idol, and I'd be able to deal with all of that, is what the haters keep on saying. Justifying the hate comments and undermining the pain celebrities have just because they profit out of publicity. Then the haters say the word ahem.
And yeah, I totally got that. The ahem, like the very Karen-esque kind of like ahem, like just very, because ahem is a very entitled, especially, it's a very, for me, that's a very English thing, like ahem, a very passive-aggressive ahem. Like it's already got an assumptive like rudeness, an assumption of I'm right, you're wrong. Ahem is a very kind of pretentious sound, I think. Where was I? Right. So, no, I've forgotten where I was. Where am I? Who am I? Yes. Right. So, no, I'm just going to keep playing it. I've lost it.
Sound or word is used in English as well.
Okay, no. I remember. So, yeah, that whole attitude of like, well, it's just so mindless, isn't it? But the attitude of like, well, I'd love to be famous. I'd swap being famous for a few hate comments. It's like, you literally have no idea what that feels like because you've never been in that position. It's so easy, and you could apply this to so many things. It's so easy to be like, wow, I could do that, no problem. It's like, well, it's very easy to say that when you're literally sat on the bench.
Or give an invisible message to somebody who's dumb, who's not able to read the atmosphere, or to nullify the awkwardness after saying something embarrassing and on, like, something like that. Anyways, as you see a lot of
I think there's a difference between and
all the usages and contexts would actually fit in. However, just to add one extra point of view as a Korean, the sound ahem was mostly used by 양반 or 꼰대s in Korea. So 양반 is a privileged noble class during the Goryeo Joseon dynasty that knew.
It makes sense to me because, like I said, for me it's got a very strong kind of like position, like assumption of power, assumption of I'm in the right, you're in the wrong. It's like a very like, yeah, to me that's like English royalty kind of thing. I am the queen. That's my brilliant queen impression. It's flawless.
Were superior in class to all the other classes, such as mechanics, merchants, farmers, and slaves.
They love this triangle thing.
Yangbans would use the word in diverse situations, like when they needed their servants, or when they would scold them or try to show off their nobleness.
우린 과거를 보러 가는 길일세. 그 쓸데없이 방차지하고 있는 장것들 밀쳐내고 어서 방이나.
Oh, use of underclasses. He's spitting bars.
먼저 숙박한 사람을 내쫓다니 이게 무슨 경우야? 그리 못하오.
아니 저놈이 지금 뭐라고 짓거리는 게야? 가만 좀 있어 보시게.
Underclasses. There it is. Underclass is such a lengthy word to spit when you're in anger. I think peasant does the job much nicer. Not that you should ever say that, but it's got a nicer ring to it.
사람 목숨 다룬 일이 그리 만만한 줄 아십니까?
그래봤자 의원 나부랭이가 아니냐? 너희들 하는 일을 의학이 아니라 의술이라고 부르는.
Are they already putting a lot of? Okay, all right. I think the first one made the point, but sure.
These 꼰대s casually use ahem to give 눈치, which is a Korean thing that basically means figure out what I mean or what I want without me having to say it with my own mouth.
Oh, I love that there's a word for that in Korean, because I don't think there's a word for that in English. being a pretentious tosser. Is that the word? Nothing quite that simplistic and a nice clean phrase for it.
But basically, it would be best if you understood it as these internet keyboard warriors who think they are morally perfect, better than you, sitting on their high horses.
I just said ahem. I keep saying ahem now.
And give you nunchi and saying, suck it up. So yeah, you can
But nunchi just sounds so delicious. Out of context, I'm like, oh, nunchi sounds tasty as hell. I can't wait to try that. Oh, look what I just got from the shops. Big, juicy nunchi. I know what I'm talking about.
In conclusion, this song is mainly about BTS's anger against how people these days waste their precious anger, emotions, time, and energy in stupid things like mocking celebrities, BTS, and internet figures, and on, which sometimes lead to tragic incidents. When this anger could actually be used in a revolutionary way to bring change in history or positivity.
That's genius. That's brilliant. That's just, I mean, like, I already thought the song was really great, but now I have a newfound respect for it. That's genius. And especially when you think about the irony that, you know, imagine the countless hours people like this, who I'm not even trying to put them down, like, I feel sorry for them. And I think, like I said in my other video, I think it is a symptom of mental health and how we don't do enough as a society. And I mean that about the whole world, honestly, to address it. But you know, they spent countless hours just pouring out mindless, pointless hate on the internet. And what BTS have done is neatly wrap that up into like a 3 or 4 minute bow and make a brilliant piece of art about it.
Ooh, is not a
There's not really any comparison in my mind about which one is more worthy, which one has more point to it.
Trash. It's bigger than the haters. It's a declaration about the emotion anger itself and a lament on the modern day social contextual usage or waste of anger.
Whoa. Okay, well, you know, like always, another completely solid, well-produced, well-researched, just very intelligent, and also decently concise video by the Kim lads, the Kim boys. I mean, like, I've just realized my video was 20-something minutes, whereas there was 14, which is embarrassing. But, you know, that's why they're so good at what they do. They look good in science gear. Anyway, yes, what was I saying? Right, so that was great. Thank you for everyone who recommended that. Definitely feel like I said, I have a deeper level of appreciation for this song now. I think on reflection, I feel like even though this one is deeper maybe, I still like the message behind Bepse more, but I think that's because I can relate to it more. But I fully understand the message behind this. It's very interesting, but there's a very personal element to it, which is, you know, the amount of hate that the BTS lads receive as idols, which already has this insane emotional strain to it. I mean, like, you know, people who are into K-pop and people like me who are kind of just starting to get into K-pop, you can kind of just tell like what a daunting kind of thing that is, like how much responsibility these guys have, you know, and so the hate on top of that is just kind of nuts. And I don't really feel like I can claim to understand that because I get a few comments occasionally saying I talk too much. It's not really in the same ballpark or even the same universe really. But yeah, I mean, I just love, you know, the style of message these guys are putting out. You know, I love the words they're putting out there, the emotions they're putting out there, the good vibes they're putting out there. Even when they take down, when they, you know, when they address haters, it's in a very classy and not like kind of like mean-spirited way. Although I guess I did say the term human waste, but I'll give them a pass for that. That's fine. Today I woke up feeling like human waste, so, you know. Yeah. So thanks again to all of you who recommended this. I hope you enjoyed my reaction to it. Please let me know what you want to see me do next. Songs, explanations of songs, weird meme compilations. I feel like I should do From Nobody to Legends videos or 2 twin set of videos soon. That would make sense. Please keep all of your lovely comments and suggestions coming. Always lovely to hear from you guys, and I mean that very sincerely, even though I know my whole voice and lack of emotional range and facial expressions doesn't convey that. I very much do mean that. Hope you're having a lovely day, and, you know, if you are going outside, you are wearing a mask. You know, don't make me put my shirt on again. So yeah, thanks for coming. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and what was that? Ooh, oh yes, and remember, if you like my reaction to the explanation of this BTS song, then click the subscribe button so you can tag along. Oh my goodness. This video is so long. What is wrong with me? Oh no. Oh no. Oh well. Ahem.